and his voice deep, booming could silence a crowd in seconds. But behind the glowing candles and fiery sermons, something darker was brewing. Women walked in blindfolded and came out shattered. Followers shaved their heads to look like him, worshipped him as the owner of the universe, and anyone who questioned him. They vanished like whispers in the night. Trust me, what's coming next will leave you speechless. Let's dive in together. The streets of Lagos have a rhythm of their own buses, honking, traders shouting, choirs singing from open churches. But one day, amid all that noise, a new voice rose. It was deep, commanding, unsettling. People paused mid-stride. Even the birds on the electric wires seemed to listen. He spoke slowly, like someone who didn't need to convince. Only command. At first, people were curious. Lagos had seen many preachers, but this one, he felt different. He didn't claim to speak for God, he claimed to be God. Yes, you heard that right. He introduced himself not as Reverend, but as His Holiness, the owner of the universe. Who would dare to call themselves that in public? Yet crowds gathered, desperate souls looking for miracles. Curious onlookers, skeptical elders. One by one, they filled his modest church on Coconut Head Street, Linda Estate. From the outside, it looked ordinary wooden pulpit, choir benches, rows of plastic chairs. But inside, something was. Women wore white cloaks to signify purity. Children learned to chant his titles like songs. Slowly, a church became a kingdom. And Bammy was its god. But every kingdom has its shadows. One of the first to notice was Manon, a teen-year-old girl with bright eyes and a mind that refused to bend. To her, Reverend Bammy's cold stare didn't reflect holiness. It reflected danger. She cried out, "No, it is not Metism." Her voice echoed through the compound and sealed her fate. The punishment was merciless. Starved for days. Isolated until one night she was dragged into his private chambers for special deliverance. Behind locked doors, away from watchful eyes, the man worshipped as a god showed his true face. Mina fought. She screamed. She begged. But no one came. By the end of the seventh day, she returned home silent, her once fiery spirit broken. Her parents praised the Reverend for saving her. The neighbors whispered blessings. And Menina just stared at the floor, eyes hollow. The church rejoiced. But behind the hymns and testimonies, a monster sat on the pulpit, wrapped in holy robes. And the question hung heavy in the air. How far would his power go before someone dared to stop him? Bulma never planned to be a hero. He was just a quiet man who had recently moved to Lagos, trying to build a simple life. The church stood only a few blocks from his apartment God's People Assembly. At first it seemed convenient. The choir was lively, the congregation was large, and everyone looked so devoted. But something about the place made his skin crawl. The chants were too loud, almost hypnotic. The way people moved when Bammy entered like puppets pulled by invisible strings was unlike anything he'd seen. He tried to stop attending. Every Sunday morning, he found himself there again, as if something unseen dragged him through those gates. Then came the day he saw Chisholm. She was the church choir's angelic voice, beautiful. Her songs could make even the coldest hearts tremble. But after one night of deliverance, she returned pale, withdrawn, her smile gone like a candle snuffed out. Bulma noticed. And when weeks later he visited her at home, what she whispered to him shattered everything he thought he knew. He touched me, she sobbed. The man they called the owner of the universe. He had violated her in the name of spiritual cleansing. Bulma froze. His stomach tightened. How many others? How long had this been happening? That night, as he drove away, a black car trailed him silently. He felt the stare from its shadowed windows. Someone was watching. The next morning, he rushed to her house. It promised to help, but when he knocked, silence. He went around the back, pushed the kitchen door, and found the house still. Inside the bathroom, her body lay in the bathtub, cold, pale, lifeless. The world stopped. For a moment, Bulma couldn't breathe. Was it suicide? Or had someone silenced her? Before he could think, a knock echoed from the front door. "Brother Bulma, it's me, Brother Suki," one of the Reverend's loyal men. Panic clawed at Bulma's chest. They found him there? Would anyone believe the truth? Or would they brand him the killer? He hid behind a curtain, heart pounding. Footsteps entered. A gasp. The man fled. Bulma slipped out through the back into the night, shaken to his core. He knew then this wasn't just corruption. This was a machine of fear. In the weeks that followed, whispers grew. A woman named Tifa, desperate for a child, visited Bammy's secret night sessions. Cloaked in white and blindfolded, she was led into a chamber thick with incense. Bammy's voice whispered, "Do not remove the blindfold, or the spirit will leave you." But what followed wasn't spiritual. It was predatory. When she realized she was pregnant weeks later, fear replaced faith. Who would believe her if she spoke? Her husband thought she'd visited for prayer. Not. That Bulma kept his distance but watched carefully. He saw patterns: women arriving late at night, disciples guarding hidden doors, rituals performed in silence. His suspicion turned to conviction. This was not a church. This was a cult built on fear and secrecy. So he began to plan. He mapped the compound. He noted the routines. One night after the service ended, he climbed an old mango tree at the edge of the church wall, hidden among the branches. Hours passed. The night grew cold. Then movement. 5 figures draped in white hoods walked in a straight line across the compound. No chanting, no singing. Just quiet purpose. They approached the back wall, and it opened a hidden passage. Bulma's hands trembled as he filmed with his phone. Finally, proof. But proof alone wouldn't keep him safe. The black car had followed him again. Tifa was beginning to panic. Witnesses were disappearing. Every step closer to the truth was a step deeper into danger. And yet, in his heart, he knew someone had to bring light into this darkness. Mina's silence. Chisholm's death. Tifa's fear. It couldn't end like this. As rain began to fall one night, Tifa heard knocks on her door. Soft at first, then louder. Her heart pounded. She reached for her phone to call her husband, but stopped. What would she even say? Another knock. Her voice shook. "Who's there?" Silence. Moments later, a scream pierced the storm. By morning, her door swung open in the wind. She lay cold on the floor, eyes frozen in terror. Bulma stood far away that morning, watching the police arrive. He clenched his fists. This was no longer just about proof. It was about survival and justice. Because in Lagos, one man had crowned himself God. And gods, when challenged, do not fall quietly. And that is the chilling tale of the pastor who called himself God. A story that reminds us sometimes The greatest danger doesn't hide in the dark, it stands boldly in the light, wearing holy robes and holding a microphone. It's easy to think this could never happen to me, but ask yourself, how many times have communities trusted blindly, hoping for miracles, ignoring the small signs that something was wrong? Power, when left unchecked, can turn faith into a weapon. If this story shook you, opened your eyes, or made you think twice, then don't just click away. Hit that like button to support the channel. Subscribe so you don't miss the next African folktale that carries powerful lessons hidden within real stories. And share this video with someone because you never know who might need to hear it. This is more than storytelling. This is a warning and a call to stay awake. Until next time, I'm your storyteller. Stay wise, stay safe, and remember, not every man of God wears the face of a saint. See you in the next tale.